next section really is looking at the Azure security benchmark. So Azure security benchmark is really here to help customers who need to meet compliance requirements in highly regulated industries, things like government, finance or healthcare. These are customers that need to ensure their service configurations of Azure meet the security specification defined in a framework. And the three I'm going to mention here are CIS, NIST, or PCI. And as you can see there, it kind of provides an efficient approach with the controls that are already pre-mapped to those industry benchmarks, making it as easy for you as possible to meet those challenges using Azure Benchmark as your tool. It's for everyone. If you're new to Azure and you're looking at for security best practices to ensure you've got a secure deployment of an Azure service or your own application. If you're looking to improve your security posture of existing Azure deployments and then prioritize, what your top risks and mitigations are. Or if you've got a new service you want to evaluate on Azure, being able to see what the security features and capabilities of that service are before onboarding it and approving it as an Azure service into your sort of cloud service catalog. So how does it work? So the Azure Security Benchmark includes a collection of high impact security recommendations that you can use to help secure the services that you use in Azure. So you have security controls. These are recommendations are generally applicable across your Azure tenant and Azure services. Each recommendation identifies a list of stakeholders, which can be helpful for when you're looking to get approval within the business, or trying to put this together. Stakeholders that are usually involved in the planning, the approval, or the implementation of that particular benchmark. And then you've got baselines. So the baselines are, apply the controls to individual Azure services. So knowing what services that you need to secure, you can or provide recommendations on that service's security configuration. So just to give a bit more insight into that, on the left-hand side here is a list of all the security controls or security control families that are currently in Azure. The Azure Security Benchmark version 3. DevOps Security is a new one that only arrived with this release. But what I've done here is pick one, which is endpoint security. Everyone has endpoints. And really what this is giving me, it's giving me this set of information all kind of lives within the Microsoft documentation world. So, clicking on the endpoint security, it takes me to, the security control for endpoint security. Within there, it's giving me, 3 different controls. Basically use endpoint detection and response, use modern anti-malware software, and ensure that anti-malware software and signatures are up to date. All good advice, all fairly straightforward. Drilling into that, that first one, ES1, what is the security principle that it's saying? It's saying enable endpoint detection and response capabilities for your VMs. So it's focusing on those Azure, Windows and Linux VMs, and then integrate the logs and data that's coming out into a SIEM. So your security operation teams can kind of process that and have visibility. So that's what the principle is. That's what they're recommending, and then it gives guidance on how to do that. So it's saying we're saying you should have an EDR in place. Our recommendation is Azure Defender for servers. You can it provides that service and it gives you the capability to prevent, detect, investigate and respond to advanced threats. So as we said, this is an Azure security benchmark, so all the focus is going to be on what's available within the Azure platform. And then it's also telling us there, how to go about doing that. Azure Defender for cloud, deploy your Azure Defender for servers to your endpoint, and then integrate the alerts to your SIEM solution, again, such as Azure Sentinel. Goes beyond that. So additionally to that recommendation, so if we just go back to that security principle, well, it's telling us what to do and it's given us guidance on how to do this in Azure, the next part, there's a drop down with a list of hyperlinks into information that relates to the recommendation that it's making. So clicking on that first link, it opens me up into an introduction into Microsoft Defender for Cloud, Defender for Servers. So this allows me to go in and read about everything from around the EDR and the services that it will provide. If I've got a specific kind of requirement that I'm looking for, this is where I can find it out. I can get some background, a short article that gives me the information that I need. You can see from there, you can deploy this in Azure, in AWS, in GCP, or on-prem, and it will give you, as you can see down a little bit further there, it's giving you additional, connections to additional documents to do what you need to do specifically. So in terms of what's new, within that Azure Security Benchmark version 3, as I said, come out at the end of last year, it maps towards industry frameworks. So PCI 3.2.1, CIS controls 8 have been added in addition to controls version 7.1, and NIST SP 800-53 review 4 or revision 4. What this is doing, I've had to do this, for customers. I've had to do it, a few jobs ago when I was doing it for my own company. Refining. It's all well and good getting the guidance and looking at the standards or the frameworks and saying, well, this is what you need to do. What I think is great about the security benchmark is it ties in with all the most popular ones, the kind of clear leaders. So there should be an easy way of really marrying up requirements. But then, the thing that was kind of released new this year was that more granular and actionable information. So there's what we just went through, being able to divide the information into those two parts, the principle and the guidance, explaining the what, and then the guidance showing you the how and how to deploy it.